Heyo guys, sorry this took so long. I've already elaborated on social media why that is, but in case you didn't happen to get the memo there, let me just fill you in really quickly. The full Switch console review, that just isn't gonna happen. Look, long story short, my schedule just does not have a place for it. And plus, I tried and tried and tried to write a decent script on this thing, and I just couldn't make it happen. Plus, I had a lot of weird shooting issues. My move in the middle of everything made things difficult, and look, the big green monster devours so much of my time these days. Anything has been made difficult. But in lieu of a full Switch console review, how about we just review a fuck ton of Switch games instead, like a catch-up quickie. But if you just have to have my general thoughts on the console itself, functionality is great, lack of current online features and Virtual Console sucks, the Pro Controller is fucking sweet, but way too goddamn expensive, and this forced scarcity bullshit can seriously fuck right off. Real talk, I love this goddamn thing. It's my favorite console that I own right now. I've been playing it fucking non-stop. It's everything the Wii U should have been, and I really want to see this thing succeed. But that ain't gonna happen if I have to offer up 2 newborns and 3 of my kidneys to get a hand on one. Fucking stock your shelves, Nintendo, Jesus!
Mario Kart 8!
Where the hell was it? Oh, yeah, let's talk about some games. Oh, hey, this one's really easy to knock out. It's just Mario Kart 8. See ya! Oh, alright, it's not just Mario Kart 8, though it is pretty much everything Mario Kart 8 should have been, and it makes it the absolute best way to play Mario Kart on pretty much any system. God, I know I'm gonna get some blowback for that, but this really is as good as the Mario Kart experience gets, people. All of the DLC characters, stages, and vehicles are here in this edition, along with a few other very notable improvements. One, you can hold 2 items in your inventory now, which is great, but it does kind of make the game twice as dickish at times, and you can't even switch between them like in Double Dash. Now there's a missed opportunity. 2, it's both portable and console playable. Okay, that's way too much of a no-brainer, but hear me out here. This game, probably more so than pretty much any game released up to this point, demonstrates the crazy cool multiplayer capabilities of this system. It's easy to set up for TV play, and just as easy to pull out and take it on the go. And still as easy to get another Switch in on the action for some 4-player on the go fun. Look, speaking as a kid who had to lug his purple and gray box of wires and hatred over to friends' houses to play Mario Kart, yeah, you guys have no idea how cool this is. This is why I'm staying on Nintendo's ass for the forced scarcity bullshit, because this is so much fun and I want everyone to be able to do it, but they can't, Nintendo. And speaking of multiplayer, 3, they finally fixed fucking battle mode! Jesus H. Waluigi, remember what a miserable, horrid cop-out the original Mario Kart 8's battle mode was? Holy fuck, that was just painful. This time out, they got it right. Beautifully rendered, open and fun environments to fight in, along with a lot of interesting takes on the battle mode formula. And really, that's kinda all there is to it. Mario Kart 8, despite its flaws, was a really great game on the Wii U, and this game basically irons out most of the flaws that game had, so yeah, gold star. 4.5 out of 5, in fact. Now where's that fucker who threw that blue shell at me? Oh yeah, this game. I said I wanted to play this in one of my Switch Rampage videos. Well, I nutted up and got it, and in the famous words of the immortal Lisa Simpson, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Bomberman. I had a hell of a lot of fun with the OG NES and SNES titles. The Bomberman formula is good old classic-ass arcade-style fun, and Super Bomberman R pretty much delivers just that. It has a neat little story mode that's kind of taking the piss, but ultimately just fizzles out towards the end. Basically, Bomberman needs to save the universe with all of his siblings, and all of his siblings are various flavors of dickhead, but it gets the job done. You have some interesting levels to play around in, some cool bosses to fight, and anyone who's played a Bomberman game in the last 33 years knows how this works. It's a tried and true formula. Perhaps a little too tried and true. That's the thing with Bomberman R. It's just a Bomberman game. Same basic setups, same kinds of power-ups and enemies, same more or less everything. And even then, it's far from the best Bomberman game I've played. For one, the stage layout, especially in single player, just kind of fucks my shit up. It's a sort of isometric perspective, meaning that you don't always have the best angle to see the course through, and considering how fast you move in this game, especially after picking up a shit ton of speed power-ups, it'll lead to a lot of shitty, cheap deaths. But hey, who cares? Because death literally has no consequence in this game. Seriously, this is one of the more bullshitty ways I've seen a game try to get around having a live system. You do have to work with lives in this game, 7 on the average difficulty, and once they run out, you don't get a game over, you just have to pay a certain amount of bonus coins, currency you earn during the game, and once you spend those, you'll just pick up right where you left off. This is like if Shovel Knight's continue system were designed by a drunk howler monkey. This basically eradicates all of the challenge from the game, as you can basically just keep throwing your corpse at various obstacles until you win eventually. It's more attrition than actual skill, which... ugh. Hell, after you die so many times, they don't even bother to take coins away from you anymore, so... yeah, what's the point? You'll lose coins, but big deal. You know what the coins are used for? Buying hats. Seriously, if you suck at this game, no ice cream cone helmet for you. Ooh. Well, the coins also unlock various multiplayer stages too, but they give you like 8 from the very start, and while there are some interesting gimmicks to some of the multiplayer stages, most of them are just infuriating. And yeah, it's awesome that you can have up to 8-player simultaneous battle mode on this game. Like, seriously, that can be a lot of fun if you can wrangle it. But, I mean, getting 8 people to willfully play Bomberman is not as easy as it sounds, trust me, I tried. Plus, it still doesn't top the 10-man Bomberman mode of Saturn Bomberman, so, even at a reduced price, this game is just a bit too shallow to justify it. I guess that's kind of Bomberman's overall problem. It's one of those retro games that is fun, charming, and even endearing, but it's also too rudimentary for its own good. There's not much you can really do to mix up the formula too much, at least not in a way that just feels like you're tacking on new bits and baubles to it. I think we could still get that spellbinding, reinventing the wheel style Bomberman game someday. Hell, if that can happen to Pac-Man, it can literally happen to anybody. But is this it? No, it's just a pretty okay Bomberman game. Hey, at least it's not Act Zero. 3 ice cream cone hats out of 5. Okay, we got a lot of ground to cover. What's next? Oh my god, guys! Ah! No joke, I love The Binding of Isaac. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Hell yes, I love this game. This is one of the very few games out there that gets RNG right. This is how you do procedurally generated levels, power-ups, and bosses. This game is the perfect example of taking a ton of tiny ingredients, throwing them all in at just the right mixture, and creating one of the best recipes known to man. And weirdly enough, one of those ingredients is poop. And, I mean, I shouldn't say perfect mixture, at least not at first mind. This is actually like, what, the 15th time this game has been released? Ah, well, whatever. The game is a morbid, sticky, gross, terrifying treat, and this may arguably be the best way you can play this game. Yeah, I know it's also on Steam, fuck off. Again, I love this version specifically because it suits the Switch's hardware so goddamn effectively. This game is a dream to play on the go, and it's a great way to kill 30 minutes. Or 3 hours if you're on a particularly good run. And you will always find yourself playing just a little bit more to see if you can finally beat this boss, or obtain this item, or find that secret room. For me, it is the definitive addiction game. You can sit down with this thing, swear you'll spend just a few minutes dicking around on it, and then suddenly your whole weekend is gone. And by weekend, I mean 6 days, and what do you mean I'm fired? I'm barely past Shield, dude. Cut me some slack. Though while I have to admit Binding of Isaac is not gonna be everyone's game, like at all, the ghastly imagery, the strong anti-religious overtones, and the weird juxtaposition in tone from creeping, horrifying body horror to, lol, oh, isn't he just the cutest abomination you ever saw? I mean, that probably isn't gonna go over well at your next church mixer, but for anyone who's interested in deceptively simple but engagingly deep gameplay, and especially for anyone who digs the hell out of top-down shooting or roguelikes, this is a definite must for this system. 4.5 maxi pads used as weaponry out of 5. See, some of y'all are puking right now. I told you this game wasn't for everyone. It's still a fucking blast. What's next?
1, 2, swish!
Oh shit, speaking of puke, well kiddies, settle in, because it looks like this little baby channel has finally reached one of its first big milestones. This is the first game I've ever reviewed that's absolute steaming shit garbage. Yay. Ugh, guys, I know that maybe sounds harsh, but this game was really fucking dumb. Like, impressively dumb. Whoever was responsible for letting this thing get to full production should have every single one of Donkey Kong's banana horde slowly and individually shoved up his... For one, look at this. No single player mode. Nothing. You can't even start the game without 2 players. I mean, you could just jerk off both Joy-Cons with each free hand, but once you do, you'll feel disgusting, and you'll also find you're in for a pretty dismal ride.
Well, duh, Crash, it's a party game. You're supposed to play it with people. What's the point if you don't have people over to play the game?
Well, okay, but even when you do begrudgingly talk some people into playing this with you, you are in for a weird experience. Most of the games are goofy, from milking cows to jacking off soda bottles to cranking it on the beach. Yeah, do you see what I mean? This is basically Dutch Rudder the game.
I grab my arm, I'm grabbing my dick, you're grabbing my arm, now work it. Work my arm. See that shit? Work it up and down.
And if you thought Bomberman R was a shallow experience, holy shit! This makes it look like fucking Berlin Alexanderplatz. These mini games take about 1 to 3 minutes to complete on average, if that. I mean, they're meant to be short, simple bursts of fun, like Mario Party games, except for twats. But chances are you'll finish these games really quickly. And you know how many there are? 28. Yeah, maybe that sounds good on paper, but remember, for games that only take 1 to 2 minutes to play usually, that's barely an hour's worth of content. Barely! And that's literally all you get. No challenge modes, no face-off modes, no score attacks, nothing. This game doesn't even save your high scores. There is literally 0 progression in this game. At least Mario Party, you play a bunch of mini games, but then they tally everything up and there's a winner at the end. This game can't even muster up the energy to do that. There's no way to tell who won the most games or who did the best skill-wise. This game has nothing outside of just the basic-ass minigames themselves. It's like Mario Party if every single solitary bit of flourish, panache, polish, sense of competition, and sense of common decency was stripped out of the game and just left with a skeleton of an experience. I mean, hell, most of the games don't even offer visual feedback. I mean, look at this. I can't really use just basic-ass footage from the game itself because this is it! This is a good 50% of it. The other 50% is all these little demonstration videos. You thought that those videos were just something they whipped up for trailers and marketing and shit? No. This is the game. This is like half the game. They paid $200 to get that community theater troupe together, and they are gonna milk it for every penny it's worth. This isn't a game, it's a tech demo. A shitty tech demo at that. There's only one game that uses the IR sensor, like, not just here in the Switch's total fucking library. Maybe 2 games that really put the HD Rumble feature on display, and the rest is just shitty motion control gimmicks that we've seen in 1,000 other games before this. For fuck's sake, Nintendo, the Wii is never gonna happen again. Let it go! And at $50, this game is an insult. A lot of people are saying this should have been the pack-in title, but I don't think it should have even been that. This would be a horrible representation for the capabilities of this system. This game should have been packed into a dumpster, the same dumpster they keep Balloon Fight and Donkey Konga in. 1 Wii Musics out of 5. Please fire something good my way.
Puyo Tetris.
Oh, okay guys, this one hits me a little close to home for a few reasons. A, I'm that weirdo who actually loves simple puzzle games. Honestly, I do. People give shit like PopCap and Candy Crush a lot of flack, and well, they completely deserve it. Their publishers are miserable companies, but there's something just so cathartic and weirdly engaging about the simple act of lining up gems in columns, or finding just the right cascading combo in Bust-A-Move, or even just wrecking up the shit of some infrastructures in Angry Birds. That's right, legit gamer boys and grills, I unironically like Angry Birds. Gamer card revoked. But my 2 favorite puzzle games of all time are, yes, Puyo Puyo and Tetris. And yes, in that order specifically. I had Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine for both the Genesis and the Game Gear as a kid, and I sunk so many hours into both versions of those that I became a fucking master at it. And of course, once I eventually stumbled on the Tetris, of course I fell in love. It's like the perfect puzzle game. But it's been downright heartbreaking to see what companies like EA and Ubisoft have done with Tetris over the past few years, and it kinda sucks that Puyo Puyo has never gotten the love it deserves here in America. When I heard Nintendo was actually going to be making a hybrid game between the two, I literally squeed. For me, this is the gaming equivalent of when Harry met Sally, when chocolate met peanut butter, when the Doom Marine met his first shotgun. This sounded like a match made in heaven for a puzzle game fan, and I will be an adorable little anime girl if it doesn't deliver on its promises. Puyo Puyo Tetris comes with an absolute smorgasbord of game types to play around with, including standard-ass Puyo Puyo and Tetris, both in competitive modes, challenge modes, endless modes, etc. Most of them are pretty goddamn engaging. There's a standard versus mode where players can play either Tetris or Puyo Puyo against each other. You know, so people who aren't good at one game or the other can still have a fair shake. There's a swap mode which switches out Tetris boards for Puyo Puyo boards on a set timer, and the actions and combos you make on one board bleed into your combos onto the other board. Okay, this was easily my favorite mode of the game. Holy shit, I could play this for hours. Party mode, where item blocks drop in as you clear rows and cause dickish status effects to happen to your opponent. Seriously, the Pentaminos can just fuck right off. And Big Bang mode, where you basically have an OCD contest and try to clear a set stockpile of Puyos and blocks as quickly and efficiently as possible, and then once the timer runs out, everything is tallied and oh shit. There's even a fusion mode where Puyos and Tetris blocks will rain down on the same time on the same board. You have to kind of figure out how to string combos together. It's really complex and kind of forward thinking, but I didn't really get it. There's even a story mode, and it's actually pretty good because it is just taking all of the piss. It's taking a metric fuck ton of piss, even more so than Bomberman's story was. Hell, the writing gets downright clever, if not weirdly adult in places.
Time has come for me to clear my reputation by assaulting this young girl!
And it serves as a great way to acclimatize you to all the different gameplay styles. And my god, is there a lot on this cartridge. This game basically serves as an Ultimate Edition style game with all the little bells, whistles, and extra features you'd expect for 2 games at the same time. See 1-2 switch, this is how you fucking do it! Almost anything you would want from a Tetris game is in here, pretty much anything you'd want from a Puyo game is in here, along with a lot of cool extra stuff you probably wouldn't have even thought to ask for. This is something that could have been botched up royally, and in so many different ways, but the fact that they didn't, and even went above and beyond in a few places, is really fucking astounding. Like, I know this isn't gonna be a popular opinion, but this is a dream game for me, guys. Just me personally, this is a huge one. And at $40, holy shit, this is a steal. It's even cheaper on the PS4 or the PS Vita. Man, this pricing structure is really going to bite Nintendo in the ass, isn't it? But it's fun to play in short bursts, it's fun to crank investment into if you want to, it's fun to play on your own, it's even more fun to play with friends. This is easily a Game of the Year contender for me, and yeah, stop giving me that look, it totally deserves it. This game is a dream. Puyo Puyo Tetris gets 5 Mean Bean Machines out of 5. Okay, let's keep it going. What's next? Oh, now here's a train I actually missed the first time it came into town. I was able to rent the original Splatoon a few times back in the day, and I had a few friends that had it and would let me dick around on it a bit, but I never outright bought the game, so I never got the full experience. I never got a chance to find out if I was a kid now or a squid now. But thanks to Splatoon 2, I know the answer to that question. I'm neither. I'm a 30-year-old man sitting in his apartment playing video games. No, but Splatoon 2 is a fucking blast. Playing this game and getting hands-on with it does really make me regret not giving the original the full treatment. It's that wonderful kind of frantic, lightly tactical PvP shooter chaos that games like Overwatch and Counter-Strike are so good at bleeding my time away, but it's also got that distinctive Nintendo flavor. Everything is bright, colorful, and adolescent, but the combat and unique method of territory control adds just the right amount of brain engagement to keep you on your toes. The standard multiplayer stuff is a treat, every bit as fun as I remember it being, and the new Salmon Run mode is also crazy fun. If not downright dickish in moments, seriously, if you're gonna play this mode with friends, make sure none of your buddies are crazy over-leveled or anything, because yeah, this game is not gonna scale things back just for your sorry ass. I honestly have a lot of fun playing this game. I've been popping in mostly for short bursts of fun while waiting for footage on other videos to render here and there, but while it is a great game to just drop into and fuck around in, it holds some drawbacks. For one, the single player is just kinda unnecessary. I mean, it's an okay way for the game to teach you the basics, to help get you acclimatized to the game if you are brand spanking new to the experience, but story, motivation, background, plot, fuck off. The Squid Kid song has more plot development than this game does, and while I made an attempt at some of the ranked and more professional modes, I got my ass handed to me every single time. I could just suck balls, but I also feel like the game could use some balancing tweaks. And while I'm not the guy to ask about this, from what I've been hearing from other people who were more involved in the original game, apparently this one doesn't do too much to mix up the formula from the last one. It's just kinda more Splatoon. I mean, maybe that's why I'm still having so much fun with it. Honestly, I still love this game, but I missed the train nearly completely last time, so maybe you'll need to take my opinion here with a grain of salt. But hey, it's a good formula and a fun game that didn't really need too much fixing up the last time around. It has a few rough edges, but I wouldn't call anything a deal breaker. I had a lot of fun with this title, and if you're looking for something to tide you over until Mario, I mean apart from Mario, yeah, this is totally worth a go. I give it 4 Squid Nows out of 5 Kid Nows. Okay, come on, let's keep going. What else have we got? Ladies and gentlemen, I just came. Like, god damn it, Sega. God damn you all to hell. It took you 23 years, 23 years from the release of Sonic and Knuckles to finally just give us the Sonic game we always wanted. But I'll be damned if you finally did it. This game is a blessing. Well, I shouldn't give too much credit to Sega here. The real geniuses behind this title are Christian Whitehead, Headcanon Games, and Pagoda West Studios. You might recognize Christian and Headcanon with their other Sonic-related ventures in the Sonic fan game community, Whitehead himself even going as far as to make those glorious mobile ports of Sonic CD and the original Sonics 1 and 2. See, while some people were groaning at the prospect of another Sonic title, especially given that Sonic Yipping Simulator is still supposedly coming out later this year, this seemed like it had the potential to be another big old-fashioned Sega cock-up. But I knew the game was at least in capable hands. As long as Sega themselves didn't rub their little dicks into the fondue, then it should have turned out perfectly golden. And that appears to be exactly what happened. Oh, this game's great. It's everything a classic Sonic game should be. It plays and feels glorious, with an emphasis on speed and characters that move and control practically one-to-one the same way they did back in the old games. But man, even the old games never looked this good. Seriously, look at the amount of frames and detail in these character sprites, the backgrounds, the animations. It looks like an original Sega Genesis game if it had Jesus Christ as an art designer. Everything about this title invokes the wonderful feel of old classic Genesis games. But on steroids, legit, this is the Sonic game the Saturn should have gotten. Oh, let's not even talk about it. It's basically one giant sincere love letter to the Sonic fan base from the Sonic fan base. It's peppered with all kinds of in-jokes, callbacks, and interesting and clever references to various parts of Sonic's 2D career. And never in any way that seems tacky or cringeworthy. No, this feels like a game that was designed by people that get Sonic, that understand why people love him so much, and hell, even some of the better Sonic games never did that very well. Every little detail of this game got the proper amount of love and care it needed and deserved. There's all kinds of bonus stages, the spheres make a comeback, and there's a kind of remixed Sonic CD special stage that you play to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Well, seriously, that's a lot of fun. And the music from T-Lopes here is absolutely gorgeous. Seriously, you will be humming these tunes for days. There are lots of wonderful bonus features too, like 2-player competitive modes, a debug mode, an and Knuckles mode. Oh my god, 2 Knuckles? I can't handle this. I'm leaving this world. This is like a slice of retro gaming heaven. This is the Sonic game that I don't think us Sonic fans ever thought we would see. But man, here it is in all its glory, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it almost feels like it was worth the wait. It is really, really a good title, especially given the price of this game. This game's not just on the Switch, but I got it on the Switch for the ability to also play it on the go, and oh my god, it looks even better on the portable screen. Like seriously, it's totally worth it. If you have a Switch, this is a game to pick up for it. I almost feel bad for Sonic Forces. There is no way it's gonna live up to this. Just none. Sonic Mania gets 5 customizable personas out of 5. Okay, we're almost done. Let's cut to the chase and wrap this up with a main event. Bam! So let me give you something you people aren't gonna want to hear. I am not much of a Zelda guy. I don't hate the series or anything. In fact, the games I do like Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds, and Link's Awakening, are games I would probably include in my all-time faves. And even the original Zelda is good if you're using a guide and can put up with a lot of NES bullshit. But man, I just do not have a lot of love for the 3D titles, at least the ones I've played. I can't stand Ocarina of Time. Granted, I didn't play it until around the days of the Wii, and I could not get past the elements that haven't aged well. I also couldn't stand Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess because fuck motion controls, and Wind Waker, well, that's the only one I haven't played. Been meaning to pick up that special edition. But hey, seeing as on launch, this was kinda the only major game you could buy for the Switch, I figured I should give it a shake. Plus its trailers made it look pretty fucking awesome, and Yeah, I can say in fact this game is pretty fucking awesome. It plays so much differently to any other 3D Zelda title I've encountered. While Zelda games have always been about exploration, most of them have been a bit on the linear side. I mean, not to like, you know, a Mario degree, but it was far from like a Skyrim or a Dragon Age. Zelda games always felt more like they were haranguing you into a set of scenarios rather than letting you explore an epic world. Don't even tell me you didn't want to skip half of the story bits from fucking Skyward Sword, Jesus. But this game is truly the first Zelda game in a while that just flat out gives you the reins and lets you drive it the way you want to drive it. This is one of the first Zelda games I've played in ages that actually felt like an adventure. One of the things the game touted from the very beginning was, hey, if you want to, you can just head straight to Ganon and kick his ass if you think you got a big pair of nuts. And you totally can. You'll get your ass handed to you, but I've seen people do it. If you really want to take that path, it's open to you, but the thing is, they built the game around getting to Ganon and whooping his ass so goddamn good that you won't want to do that. You will want to explore this world and, you know, take part in the adventure. Combat is fluid and fun. If not a little on the simplistic side, it's very button mashy. People have said that the degradation of weapons is a big bugbear, and yeah, I can see why people would have some issues with that. Big issues. But it never got on my tits, really. Honestly, the weapon fragility system kept combat tense and engaging for me. When that warning comes up that your weapon is about to break, it can send a chill down your spine. It makes going up against tougher enemies much more a battle of tactics. You gotta know what to bring into each fight, and you gotta be willing to make sacrifices to get done what you need to get done. Weapons are all over the place too, so even if you're in a pinch, you can usually just yoink one from a downed enemy, or at the very least just bomb the shit out of them. That's always fun. But combat isn't necessarily the meat of this game. This thing, in a weird way, is a puzzler. The core of the gameplay rests in these temples, little mini dungeons scattered throughout the land that act as fast travel points once you beat them. You gotta beat their challenges in order to unlock them though, and most of the time it's centered around a fun little brain teaser that'll test your timing and logic abilities, as well as your combat skills occasionally. It's just a great way to incentivize exploration, and it makes you want to travel around and fill out the map and find all these little temples and see what kind of challenges they hold. Hell, even the main boss dungeons, of which there are only 4, are basically just these little puzzle dungeons beefed up to the nth degree. The big battles against the various flavors of Ganon too are also challenging little scuffles that make great use of the mechanics you acquire throughout the game. Oh, and speaking of mechanics, gliding! You know, this game does give you horses and stuff to ride around and help you get around faster if you want it, but I think I maybe used a horse once. The best and most fun way to get around in Hyrule is to use that glider, baby. Seriously, pro tip, spend a lot of your early upgrade points on beefing up your stamina meter, because the more stamina you have, the more climbing and glider time you have. Oh my god, there's just nothing like climbing all the way up to a crazy high cliff or tower, jumping off and just sailing through the clouds. Movement in this game is a fucking blast. Now, I often found myself just wandering around to see what I could climb and throw myself off of next. The gameplay is fun, it's full of fun and interesting characters, and there's side missions aplenty. Like seriously, gliding my ass to that secret island and playing a game of Survivor was one of my favorite moments in gaming this year. And you know what the best part of the whole experience is? You can take as much or as little of the game as you bloody well want to and still get a full, satisfying experience out of it. There's a damn decent amount of content here. If you want to 100% this thing, you will be at it for a while, but you do not have to 100% complete this game to have a great time with it. It's all about having as much fun as you want to have. You complete the game when you're done with it, not when the game harangues you into cutscene 572 or whatever. Just do what you want to do, homie. This is a game that plays by your rules, and it does it without making the experience feel anemic, tedious, or pointless. It is truly an adventure. Like I've said, as someone that's always had trouble getting into later Zelda games, that was always a sticking point for me, but here, this is the first Zelda game I've played in 3D that evokes all of the fun of the 2D titles, and yep, this is a strong Game of the Year contender, if not the Game of the Year contender to beat for me. And again, guys, this is coming from someone who is so not a Zelda fanboy. You people are crazy for loving Ocarina of Time as much as you do. It is not that fucking good. Zelda Breath of the Wild gets 5 Urbosas out of 5.